Wilf.
Yeah, Wilf is right in the center in the light uniform. And I guess that's a Lancaster bomber behind them, and that's what he flew, and that's what he was killed in. And I don't think there may be some neighbor or some boys from Yellowgrass in that photo too, because there were three of them that joined up together, and he's in, the three of them are in several pictures, several large group pictures, because they were trained together.
Where was he, where was his plane shot down?
Over Chemnitz, Germany, and it was a very nasty thing. It was a firebomb raid. They did that towards the end of the war, just a month before the war was over. They burned a lot of German cities. Some of them are well known. Chemnitz was a chemical town. It was not that well known, but there were as much as 100,000 people killed in one night because the fire would just eat up the oxygen.
And there he is. It's like he's just getting ready to go off.
That was, I think, on what was called embarkation leave, and that's Esther and Irene with him. And Irene looks like a teenager of today. Why, I wouldn't know. But anyhow, it was probably about 25 below when they just stepped out to have that photo taken just as he was leaving.
There's a boy and his dog.
A boy and his dog. Well, that wouldn't have been in the embarkation leave because it was in the summer. And that was a stupid dog that we had, which we probably let go later on. And I just loved to dress up in Wilf's uniform, and pretend I was a man, I guess. And how old would I be? He left about 40, I think his embarkation leave was in 44, and he joined up in about 42, but I'm not dead sure of those dates, so I would have been maybe 11. Yeah, that would sound about right.
Is that you with your car in there?
Well, that's that same damn truck. I don't know whose it was, but somebody who employed my brother Herb, I guess. That was probably Sattler's old International truck. That was taken on the farm. I guess I loved to dress up and have my picture taken and thought I looked like something really, really sharp.
Got the same tie on all the time.
I'm sure that was somebody else's. It was the only one that I had.
So who's this one here? That's one of your sisters?
That's Esther, and again taken in front of those trees, which almost dates the photograph. So how old would they be there? They'd be maybe 8 or 10 years old. She had a pretty dress on. She was before she was married. She looks pretty young there. She was married at age 18 too, just like her mom. And she had a lot of life, and she stated her mind a lot.
Mm-hmm. I remember when we visited.
Yeah. I remember her giving me hell because I whacked you and Mark on the head once, and I wouldn't usually do something like that. Came home from work and had been misbehaving. And then that's when we came here to Ottawa, and I was so stressed out, and then I was tested, and the guy said, "Oh, you got borderline diabetes." That's true. I would have headaches every day, and my gut would hurt all day, So I had an excuse.
No excuse for child abuse. That's a graduation picture?
That's a graduation picture.
How old are you there?
I was really only 20 years old.
20 years old?
Yeah.
Graduating in what?
Engineering.
Engineering.
Civil engineering from University of Saskatchewan. And let's see, I somehow nabbed the negatives from the guy who took the pictures, like you normally wouldn't give them to anybody, It was sort of the university photographer, but I said, well, my classmate, Jim Wynn, is going to make some copies for me, and Jim Wynn didn't hardly know me, but he was a well-known photographer in the class, amateur. So he gave them to me, and I took them downtown and got my graduation photos made, all of which turned brown about a year later. And this would have been taken probably at least a year before, maybe in my second year or my third year in Saskatoon, with that black sweater that Ken had given me, which he got from Sudbury, as it says there, and I was very proud of it.
Are these two dashing...
Well, that would have been just before I graduated. The graduation photo was probably taken in January or something. This would have been taken, let's say, in May when Irene came up to visit for my graduation, and I've forgotten if she stayed in my boarding house or not, but anyhow, it was very nice of her. She came up, and I had a different suit by then, I can see, but I don't remember what it was like.
Who's that?
This was taken outside of the bunkhouse in the Chapman Camp bunkhouses of the Consolidated Mining and Smelting in Kimberley, British Columbia. And that guy beside me, I'd like to know where he is now. He was a very fine fellow. His name was Erredo Serafini. Commonly, that's why he was called Buck. And him and I had stolen those flags that day from the Highland Games.
So you never travel up there anymore? The police might...
He actually came from Milton, Ontario.
You know, we're getting on in the years here.
Well, that actually would be going back, and May looks like awful there, but that was Ralph and May sometime after they were married in the East and before, you know, I don't know, it probably would have been before Kenny was born, but quite, no, I don't think so. Anyhow, that would have been in 1942 or something like that. So that's Ken, and I don't know when it was taken. I think it was probably taken in Vancouver, although that's just a guess. That's Ken. I mean, no mistaking him. Very tall, very slender.
He must have got his genes. Okay, there's it's from our visit out west years ago.
Probably, yeah, probably. That looks very much like it was my mom's room. I don't recognize that bedspread or the chair or anything. And she's looking pretty thin there and old. And I wonder if her hair was in a braid still, because she used to have her hair in a bun all the time with the long hair. She liked her hair a lot. She had a little matchbox full of her hair that was cut off one time. It's a nice coppery brown. So this was 1973 probably, when we went out to Yellowgrass, and that's must be Sheila. Yeah, and Esther, who that's the way she looked, but she still had that chin sticking out there. Still did what she wanted to do. How come Paul is not in the photo?
Paul's taking the picture.
Is that what Paul's doing?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so.
And yeah, I guess it must have been you.
That'll be another video.
And Mom had to come home from the old folks' home in Weyburn to clean up the house and cook a chicken or something like that. She just wouldn't think of anything else.
Who are those two swingers?
I don't know when that would have been taken. I should know.
When did you have your
forgotten
hair
when I cut my hair off and got rid of that. It was 1980 I started doing that, and probably about 3 or 4 years later I stopped. Now it's possible that was when Linda was married.
Mm-hmm.
But I was dressed differently than that for her her wedding.
Here's that couple.
I suppose it was Georgie, my friend Georgie, that took that, I guess. Must have been.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that's Ken and his wife. And I guess that's the only picture I have of her.
Yeah. These three guys look kind of criminal to me.
Yeah, a real conspiracy. That was very. I really did appreciate that. Georgie made us, said, "Oh wow, get you all together and take a picture," and it turned out to be quite a good picture for the three of us too. There are several shots of us sitting there from her camera, from my camera, and this is better ones. We're all smiling. Unbelievable, 3 Webers smiling all at the same time.
So, how old are you guys now, the remaining Webers that are...
Well,
ones that have
I'm
married?
going to be 60 in a few more months.